All right, guys, we're about 20 minutes from going live. Just doing a quick sound check with anybody who's in here. If you can hear me, please let me know in the chat box and if I sound clear. All right, let me know if you can hear me. All right, guys, we're about 15 minutes away. If you have any questions for me that you want me to address during this play calling webinar, just ask them in the chat below, and Jocelyn will forward those to me. She's going to be manning the chat room tonight, and we will get started. Our discussion will begin at 9 o'clock. I'm going to talk about what I look for when I'm game planning, and then we will talk about how to call great plays in the 30 stack defense to really attack what the opponent is trying to do to your front. So stay with me here about 15 more minutes. We're doing some final checks on the technical side of this web clinic stuff, and wait until everyone gets in the chat to join the web clinic. All right? About 15 minutes. All right, guys, this will be my final sound check. It's about 8:50 p.m. Eastern time right now, so we'll start here in about 10 minutes. And I'm just checking to make sure that everything's going full screen and that you can see the slides. If you can see the slides and you can hear my voice, please let me know in the chat. And we are about 10 minutes away. If you want to, please go to Twitter, go to Facebook, share with every coach you know that this clinic is happening right now. And don't forget to read just above the chat. We're going to have a couple contests tonight. I'm going to give away a free copy of my football workouts, which is a daily year-long plan, speed and weightlifting training for football teams at the high school and middle school level. And that will be a 2014 edition for the rest of the year. And I'm going to give you a free copy. One person's going to get a free copy for 2015. And I'm also going to be giving away 3 copies of my advanced playbook, which is a complement to the 30-stack playbook that you might have downloaded over at 30defense.com or coachxo.com. So if you can see the slides, let me know. And if you can hear me good, tell me that too. And go to Facebook and Twitter in the next few minutes and share that there is a live clinic. And make sure you copy and paste this link and tell all your coaching friends that we're talking some football tonight over on Google Hangouts. All right? Be back in about 5 minutes. One more thing, guys, if you are hearing a clicking noise from the chat whenever anybody says anything in the chat room, there is a small speaker icon in the lower right-hand corner of the chat box. And if you're still above watching the video, you can scroll down and you can see a chat below this where you can talk a little bit with the coaches during the web clinic. But you can turn that little clicking noise off by pressing that speaker. Okay, so if you need to get rid of that because it's getting on your nerves, just go ahead and turn that button off. And if you have not joined the chat yet, just scroll down and hit Facebook or Twitter, and you can log in with those accounts, and then you can go and share the web clinic's link on your social media outlet of choice. All right? Got a couple more minutes, and we will get rolling. All right, guys, we've got a slight technical difficulty. My presentation has dropped from the feed. So just give me, we're still about 5 minutes away, and I will clear this up, and we'll get ready to roll. 8:55, we'll be starting in 5 minutes. All right, guys, I've got the slides up, and what I'm going to try to do now, I'm trying to get it to share full screen. And if that does not work, we will just roll with it in the smaller browser. You shouldn't have any problems seeing it, but let me try one more time. Every time I hit this present, trouble getting it to go full screen. So let me know in the chat if you can see it at full screen when it clicks over. Am I at full screen, or is it my face? All right, I think we're going to have to go. We're going to have to go in the window because I cannot get it to share any other way. So let me go ahead and share that again. And if you cannot see it good, you can make the video full screen in the lower right-hand corner of the YouTube box. You will be able to click that and make it full screen just like if you're watching a normal video. But I think we're going to have to go with it in the box here. All right, guys. Little technical difficulty, but you'll still be able to see the slideshow that I've got. And when I switch over to my Playmaker software, you should have no problem seeing everything that I'm going to do. Something's going on when I try to go full screen, but just using my slideshow as kind of a guide anyway. So we'll roll with it, and you'll be able to tell what's going on. My name is Shane Sams. I'm the founder of CoachXO.com and also the founder of 30defense.com, where I talk about the defense that I love the most, the 30-stack defense. And that can be the 3-3-5, the 3-5-3 defense, or any 3-3 stack, whatever personnel group that you're using. This is basically the system where we have 3 linebackers stacked over top of 3 linemen, and we attack the defense with this interior 6 stack. And I learned this defense when I was a graduate assistant at West Virginia University, and I've used it almost every year that I've been either a head coach or a defensive coordinator at the high school level. I've ran this at the middle school level, and I've even helped teams adopt it to the youth level who were in my program when I was a head coach. And it has worked at every level that I've ever seen it ran, and I think for a coach, this is by far the funnest defense that I've ever been involved in. You just get to, you can sit back and bend, don't break. You can attack with your stack, and the possibilities are absolutely endless with the plays that you can call in the 3-3 stack, 30-stack defense. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight is play calling. But first, I want to go over a few things. I've got a couple door prizes for all the guys that showed up at our first webinar. Kept this to an exclusive list. I only shared this in an email list of guys that signed up for it from the Facebook group that we've got, where we've got almost 600 members now on the Facebook group. A lot of great conversation going on where we're talking about defense, seeing a lot of stuff about coverages and alignments, and really starting to rev up because we've all got games coming up pretty soon during the football season, and we have already gone through the installation phase. We're practicing with our guys, but it's starting to get close to the time where we better start working on game plans, and that's what we're going to try to do today. Now, on the door prizes, anyone who joins 30defense.com tonight, I have a website set up where I am, we've got a community of coaches. There's a lot of coaches already in there, and it's got dozens and dozens of articles and videos over at 30defense.com, and they are totally focused on the stack. And we talk about playbook technique, we talk about drills, and every week during the season, I'm going to be putting out game plan advice, like how to handle the spread, how to handle a 3-back power team, how to go up against a double wing offense. And in that community, guys can come together and really work to win more games and with this defense. So if you join 30defense.com tonight, I've got the price marked down $20 off of its normal price. You can also pick up my playbook and all of my installation guide and manuals if you are just now starting practice and you need a little help organizing your practices with your coaches. So anyone who joins 30defense.com, and you can do that by clicking the big button underneath the screen, you are going to get a free copy of my football workouts manual, and that is a $200 value. I'm going to send you the 2014 edition for the rest of the year that has all of your in-season workouts, and you will get a free copy of the 2015 edition when it comes out in November. Also, I'm giving away 3 copies of my advanced 30-stack playbook, and you can get a copy of that or get into the drawing for that. If you go to my Facebook page, and I've got the link in gray right below door prize, copy and paste that into Facebook and go to facebook.com/CoachXO, and the top post, all I want you to do is share that to another football coach. Share that with a coach you know. It can be a guy on your staff. It can be a friend of yours from the youth league. It can be a guy from your crosstown rival. Whoever it is, share CoachXO.com with them, and we will pull 3 winners from that, whoever shares that. And just put I shared it down at the bottom, and my wife Jocelyn will check on the Facebook page during the show or during the webinar to make sure that whoever shared that gets put in the drawing. And she will be manning the chat room. There is no possible way that I can talk in the chat room tonight while I'm actually doing the clinic. So make sure that if you have any questions that you want me to answer toward the end of the program, put those in the chat box, and Jocelyn will forward those to me on a different computer so I can see them, and I can draw that stuff up at the end. Okay? All right, the first thing we're going to talk about tonight in play calling is game planning. We can't make good plays unless we actually prepare for our opponent. You know, a lot of guys make huge mistakes in the 3-3 stack. This is not a defense where you can just line up and play. The coach is heavily involved and has to really have a kind of his nose and his finger on what the opponent is doing. So we've got to have good tendencies on our opponents. And if you don't have tendencies, then you're not going to be able to have a good game plan, because you're going to be out there winging it. You're going to make it a guessing game. You're going to slant the wrong way and put yourself in a real bad bind. And you're going to be grab backing it. You're just going to be calling plays off the top of your heads. Now, I ran one year a 52 defense with a cover 2 shell, and we lined up in gaps, and we basically just lined up and played a lot. We would stunt a little bit, but this is not that kind of defense. When you're in the stack, you have got to be sending your guys to certain points of attack and trying to stop and take away what they're trying to do. So we've got to go over a little game planning before we can actually start calling plays. All right, so let's talk about what we're going to look for. Now, I know that coaches right now all across the country are obsessed with Huddle and online film breakdown software and things like that. Now, I'm not going to knock it. I love the computerized software. Huddle does a great job with all of the different things that you can do with it. But here's the problem. I've got a family. I've got kids. I've got a life. And daggone it, I like to golf a little bit on a Saturday. So I don't have time on the weekend to sit down for 9 hours and input all of the data that Huddle and all these companies tell us that we need to look for. Now, if I'm at a major Division I college or I'm in the NFL, yes, I've got to know, if the left guard has an untied shoelace. I got to know all that stuff. I got to chart every single piece of data that I can get to really break it down, because there's millions of dollars at stake. There's huge crowds, and there's a lot going on, and I'm going to lose my job if I don't beat my rival. But for the high school coach, for the middle school coach, even the youth coach, there's only a certain number of things you really need to know to be able to properly attack an offense. And I want to go over just the highlights of now what I look for on film to make sure that we are getting good, solid information that's going to give us a good, educated guess of where our opponent is going to attack. Now, I'm not knocking Huddle. If you've got Huddle, then use it. But I actually use it just to watch the film, because I like to be able to hit loop, and I like to let it play over and over until I've got all my data. But I actually break down film on paper, and I can do it on the computer. But at my school, we don't have a really big staff. We don't have, Huddle says you're supposed to divide up all the different fields and things like that. But the problem is we've only got 1 or 2 guys that are breaking down film every week, and everybody else has jobs or doing something else. So I actually do use it to watch the film, but I do not put a lot of data in Huddle. I use special sheets that I've developed that allow me to break down film in real time and have a game plan prepared as soon as I watch the last game. And I'll talk a little bit more about that toward the end of the web clinic. All right, the first thing that I look for whenever I'm breaking down film, I start with the field zone. Okay. Now, what a field zone is, the one you've probably heard of the most is the red zone. That's inside the 20-yard line. Okay. But the problem is there's more than one field zone. The field represents to me a lot of different kinds of psychology. The plays that your opponent is going to call on the 20 are different than what your opponent is going to call on the 50 or even back behind the 50. The goal line, 10 to the goal line, that's a different field zone than the red zone. What your opponent will do inside the 10 is completely different than what he'll do from the 20 to the 10. If I'm on the 20-yard line, I can take a couple shots. I can throw it, and I'm going to go for it on 4th down. If I'm at the 50, or I'm behind the 50, I'm probably going to still be thinking about punting a little bit. So these are completely different areas, and the play calling totally reflects that. There's no way, you can't just look at the whole game and say, well, on first down they did this. Well, that's not true. On first down and inside the 20 they did one thing, but first down on the 50 they may have done something else. First down on the goal line they may have done something else. So you have to divide the field up in some way. I actually recognize 6 field zones. I've got my field divided into 6 different zones, and I actually have calls for every zone. If you're between the 50 and the 20, I have a completely different list on my call sheet than the plays and stunts that I'm going to call from the 20 to the goal line. So don't break down the game as a whole. Break down your field up into different places based on what your opponent is making play call decisions by. Another thing about field zones is you've got to look at whether they're on the hash or the middle of the field. You know, especially in high school when the hashes are very wide, you've got to look at this and say, okay, if the ball is on the hash, they have a huge wide side of the field where they can attack, you know, a lot of grass, 2/3 of the field is open. But they've got a short side too, and that might be different plays. If the ball's in the middle of the field, they've got this whole field to work with, but they're equal on both sides. So does that take away their perimeter game? Does that make them pass a little bit more because they've got more room to run routes? And the left hash and the right hash can even be different play calls. Some coaches like to run toward their sideline. So if they're on the far hash, they'll always run to their sideline until they get it back over toward them so they can see. Whereas if they're on their sideline, they may run into the boundary on first down to keep the ball there and then move away from it. So the first thing you got to look at when you're game planning is your field zones. Divide the field up. Don't just break down all first, second, and third, and fourth downs. You've got to look at where the ball was actually spotted during that time. All right. The next thing that I look at is down and distance. All right. But I break it down by field zone. I do not just say, you know, on first down my opponent's doing this. On second down my opponent's doing this. It's just not true. I look at 1st and 10 on the 50 as a completely different scenario than 1st and 10 on the 20. Or second and short. I consider short yardage 1 to 3, medium yardage 4 to 7, and long yardage 9 to 11, and anything 12 plus I call that forever because it's like third and forever. It's going to take them, you know, a miracle to get them out of that situation. But I actually go back after I look at the field zone. So let's say they're in the red zone. All right, I'm going to go back a slide. Let's say they're on the 20-yard line. I will say, all right, it's 1st and 10 on the 20, and that is a completely different part of my game plan than 1st and 10 on the 50. And I'll break down all of those different downs and distances, second and short, second and medium, second and long, second and forever. I'll break down third and short, third and medium, third and long, third and forever, fourth and short, fourth and medium, fourth and long, fourth and forever. I'll break all those things down by the different field zones. And this doesn't take a lot of time because, remember, we're using a hit chart system on paper where I can just mark, okay, I just go to the place where it says, you know, the 50-yard line, and if it's first down, I go to that column. That's how I chart it. And I break down all the different downs and distances because coaches will do different things on 2nd and 5 than they will on 3rd and 5. Coaches will do different things on 1st and 10 from the 50 than they will in the red zone on 1st and 10. Or 2nd and 5 on the 40-yard line is different than 2nd and 5 on the 5-yard line. You know, if it's 2nd and 5 on the 40-yard line, I may try to run it, see what third down's like. If I don't get it, I'll punt. 2nd and 5 from the goal line, I'm pretty much going to run the ball 4 times and run it down your throat and put it in the end zone. So after you break down field zones, you're going to look at down and distance. And remember, you're doing this play by play. You're not going like all the field zones and going back and watching the film again and doing all the down and distance. You're going to get each play, you're going to say, all right, where is it on the field? What down and distance is it? And then you're going to start breaking down other parts of the play. All right, the third thing that I look for is personnel. So, and if you really think about how a play rolls, it's going to come out like that. You know, the offense mate, let's say they're a huddle team. They're going to be in a huddle. The ball's already going to be spotted on the field, so you're going to know if it's on the hash and what field zone it's in. You can look up while they're in the huddle or while they're doing their check with me bull crap over to their head coach. You can look what down and distance it is. And now when they line up, I'm going to check personnel, but not always formation. I've found through a lot of experience that personnel is probably more important than exactly what formation they're going to be in. You know, if they've got a tight end in the huddle, you know, they may come out in a pro set with 2 backs, or they might have 3 backs with a split end, or they might even be, in like a spread pro formation with a tight end on one side, no tight end on the other. I just want to know that tight end's going to be there so I can prepare to attack the strong side if I think it's going to be a strong side run. Same thing with this formation we've got right here. We've got a double spread formation. This is one back with no tight ends. So I would call this 10 personnel. And I just want to know on paper that they're not going to have a tight end. When I'm doing my game plan and I'm making my play calls, just understanding that 75% of the time on a certain down and distance that they're not going to have a tight end is going to be huge in helping me call the right play or the right coverage, because that lets me know things like there's 4 receivers now. So I may need to sub in somebody who's a little bit quicker into the flats at the stud position. So personnel is what I go with in my second one, and that's how I do it pretty much. I say how many backs there are and how many tight ends there are, because if I know that piece of information, I know how many receivers there are, so I can make a determination of what coverage that I'm going to be able to put in. Now, if I'm going quick here, remember, you can put a question down in the chat box for Jocelyn, and she's forwarding those to me and making a list. And after I get through the first part of the presentation and then I break down show you some great play calls in the stack versus common plays, I'm going to answer all of your questions. So if you've got a question or any comments, please make them in the chat box below the video. All right? So we've already looked at field zones. We've looked at down and distance. Now we're going to look, we've looked at personnel. The next thing I look at is direction. Oh, I'm sorry, play type. All right, play type. I recognize, a lot of people think, it's a run or a pass. I actually chart if it's a run, pass, or a screen. I do not call screens passes necessarily, because I believe they have a completely different function, and I always noticed that my statistics when I was breaking down film were polluted when I used to just say run or pass, because those screens would be in there on 3rd or 4th down, and I wouldn't exactly know exactly when they were coming. So I actually now break down run, pass, and screen for each play. If it's a bubble screen or if it's a little running back screen in the backfield, I actually want to know that. I want to know that. I don't want to know. I know it was a throw, but it was behind the line of scrimmage. They're setting up a different blocking scheme for it, and it just really helps you see what's happening. If you come out and it's 30% run, 5% pass, and that's 65% screen, if I was putting pass and screen together, it's just going to say 70% pass. So I'm going to be dropping people in coverage. I might get confused and send too much pressure, and you don't really want to blitz against a screen. So I highly recommend when you're breaking down film, you always divide up run, pass, and screen, and make sure that you're looking at the difference of them. Now, pass and runs can be broken down a little bit more. Like for pass, you might want to have a 3-step, a 5-step, or a sprint out column, just to kind of understand, are they rolling out, are they dropping back, what are they doing? But always, for sure, even at the lower levels of football, middle school and youth football, try to chart whether it's a run, pass, or a screen. Don't lump all the screen and passes in together. All right, after we've done field zone, down and distance, personnel, and play type, then we start breaking down directions. And what I mean by directions, I look at where they're attacking. And I actually break down film on a hit chart. I want to see where the ball is going. I don't necessarily just want to know the hole. I want to know if it's an inside run in the A or B gap. I want to know if it's an outside run, off tackle, or in the sweep. I want to know the gap that they were aiming for, A, B, or C. And as I'm watching film, I'm going to get a good feel. Some coaches, a gap is the man. Sometimes it's the gap. So I want a good feel of exactly where the ball is hitting. So I always look at in and out. Are they going to be an inside run or an outside run? Because if I know it's 75% going to be an inside run, then I know I can deploy people off the perimeter. I can blitz them into the backfield, or I can call a solid call and put them right up on the line and really take away the inside run with 8 in the box. If I know I'm going off tackle or out to a sweep, I know that I can release my free safety into the run fits, and that he can help out on the perimeter once the stud forces the ball back inside. So the first thing I always look at directional is this an inside run or an outside run or a pass or a screen? The next thing I look at are all the different directions that the play went. Every time someone runs a play, different things happen. For example, here we see the ball is on the hash. All right, here's my directions that I chart. Let's say that this running back runs to his left. Okay, well, not only did he run to the left side, he also went to the strong side and the field side. And I want to look at the end of all my breaking down of film. I want to see what was the best tendency. On 3rd and 5, at the, what yard line are we on here? It looks like about the 35-yard line. On 3rd and 5 on the 35, did this dude run left more? Did he run strong more to the field more? I want to know that, and I want to attack the best tendency with my play call. So I chart left and right, strong and weak, and for us, a strength call is where the tight end is. It always trumps everything. If we have a balance set with 2 tight ends or no tight ends, then it's how many backs there are. You know, where are more backs or where are more receivers. But I always chart left, right, strong, weak, field, and boundary for every play, so I can look and say, okay, on this down and distance, it was 80% strong, but it only went 40% to the left. So I know to call my blitz to the strong side, not the left side. Now let me show you a little bit how this works in action. All right, well, we got one more. The fifth thing that I break down is just who got the ball. You can see here we got a nice little fake here, guy running a reverse. It's a go-to guy, right? I want to know who's getting the ball on every down and distance that I can break down on film, because if number 8 here is getting the ball on third and medium every single time on the 50-yard line, well, we're going to put a spy call in and call spy 8, and we're going to make sure we're all looking at him because we know he's going to get the ball 80% of the time, and it's going to take us where we need to be. So the last thing that I do chart is just who ended up with the ball. I do not chart the result of the play. I don't really care where the play ends up because that has no bearing on the opponent's play call. The offensive coach is not making a call that's an 80-yard touchdown. He's making the best call he thinks he can make on the field zone on 2nd and 7. He's making the call there. So I don't really chart the result. I just chart the beginning of the play so that I know exactly what the situation was. I want to know why that coach made the play call, not where he ended up, because touchdowns happen for a lot of reasons, and it's not always because that guy over there is such an X and O genius. All right, they can happen because of a guy slip. They can happen because of a missed tackle. All I really need to know is why did he call that play based on the data before the snap, and then I can call a play to stop it. So I definitely want to know who's getting the ball at the end of the play call. Now let me show you an example. Once all that data is calculated together, okay. Let's say that I've got a scenario here where I've broke down film and I'm looking at my play sheet and I've got a call here, and let's say it's the attack field zone, and for me the attack field zone is between the 50 and the 20 on the positive side. It's right before the red zone. They're attacking us, okay? Let's say it's 2nd and medium. That means it's 2nd down and there's 4 to 7 yards to go. When I broke down film, let's say over 3 or 4 games, every time they got in this situation, they came out in 12 personnel. That means there's 1 tight end and 2 running backs, and 80% of the time it was 12 personnel. I've got a good chance to be able to guess here that I'm going to get a tight end. So I can make a solid call and put my my stud linebacker right down on the edge. All right. When I broke down film, 71% of the time I've got a run play. It wasn't a pass, might have been a pass or a screen to make up the rest of them, but 71% of the time I've got a run play. Listen, if you go to Vegas and you told me I could sit down at the blackjack table and then I could win 7 out of 10 times I played, I'll tell you right now I'm going to play blackjack all night. So if I've got a 71% run tendency, I'm going to definitely lean my play calling on this down and distance if I get in this situation during the game toward a run-stopping type blitz. Now, here's the big tendency. When I broke down this possession, I saw that 90% of the time the play attacked the tight end side, the strong side of the formation. So I know it's probably going to be a run. They could throw it, maybe throw a play action in. But I'm almost positive that we're going to get something happening on the tight end side because I've watched film, or if you're a youth coach or a middle school coach, go to your opponent's games and just write this stuff down as you're watching the game. It just takes a second to chart it. But I got a good tendency of 90%. And C-gap, I'm seeing off-tackle play. This wasn't a perimeter play. They're not really attacking me inside. So when I look at this data, I can see that this is probably going to be a run to the tight end side. So I'm going to use the stack to build a call that is going to stop what I'm seeing on film. All right, so look right here. The call that I've called is slant strong. I call this bats. That means my backer and the stud are going. All right. And I know it's going to be a run, so I'm going to call a play where I release my free safety into the run fit. So we actually have a play to void the post or the middle third. So I'm going to release him into the run fit because I'm going to guess here that it's 70% run. I'm going to have a good chance that he's going to be in the run fit. All right, so slant strong, bat strong, cover 3. Now, watch what happens here. Our nose, our tackle, and our other tackle all slant toward where the play is going. So that's going to create movement, and it's also going to attack the potential point of attack. I always try to put a guy where they're trying to run. If I can put a guy there and clog that up, I at least know I'm going to force a cutback or a bounce out. And anytime we can get them running sideways, we're probably going to have a good chance to stop the play. I'm also going to blitz the two gaps that are surrounding the C gap to make sure that when he does bounce, he's going to have to be forced lateral and he's going to have to be forced horizontal and make some movement. So this play call was not something that I just pulled out of thin air. I looked at this down and distance, and I said, you know, I'm about 90% sure something good's happening here for me, and I'm 70% sure he's going to run it. So, by gosh, I'm just going to take away all three of those gaps. I'm going to send some heat into the backfield right there. If it's play action, the quarterback's going to get sacked by my stud blitzing off the edge. If it's a run play, the running back's going to stop right here and be surrounded, and he's either going to have to bounce outside or cut it back against the grain. And I've also clued my guys in. In our defense, we either say slant or rip. And what that means is if it's a slant, we're actually telling our kids we think it's a run. And if it's a rip, we're actually telling them it's a pass. It's the same kind of movement. It's a little bit different in the technique. Like if we say slant strong or rip strong, they're still going to the strong side. But we're giving our kids a clue built into our play call whether Coach Sam thinks it's a run or pass. So I build all of my calls like this. I go through and watch the film. I chart all these different things, the down and distance, the field zone, the personnel, run, pass, or screen, and then I get all my directions, and I just tick these off in little boxes on my call sheet. And once I do that, I just go back and sit back on my couch, pour a cup of Mountain Dew or something, get a cup of coffee maybe if it's early in the morning, and I just go through each scenario. I have like 120 calls on my call sheet, but it takes me about an hour to write them all in every time for a new opponent. And I just go through to each scenario, and I see exactly what happened during that down and distance. I write a call down, and when I show up, when it's second medium in the attack field zone, I call slant strong, bat strong, cover 3, and that play gets ran. And I've got a 70% chance to get it right, maybe a 90% chance if they ran strong. All right, now I'm going to switch over here to the Chalk Talk section of the thing, and I'm going to let me make sure I don't mess my screen up again. But I'm going to switch over to my Playmaker software here, and I'm actually going to draw up a few plays. So I'm going to hit pause here just a second while I get a drink of water, and we will move on and start breaking down some common plays. All right, while we're switching over here, I'm going to answer a couple questions that Jocelyn has sent me over. Charles asked, will the PowerPoint be available after this web clinic? The entire replay will actually be available after the web clinic for a few days, and then these go back behind the membership wall at 30defense.com for members only after that. And the PowerPoint will be available on 30defense.com as well, and for a couple days, and then it will be back in membership site, so the members will have access to that as they go through the season. Let's see. MCH Coach writes, do you have a hit chart available? I have my hit chart, but I'm actually I was going to put it online tonight, but I want to clean it up a little bit. I use some terminology on there that I don't think people would understand without me explaining it, and I am going to actually make that available over at 30defense.com for anybody that wants to download it. But I've not quite got that cleaned up enough to where I think that you could understand it without me sitting there telling you what it is. So I want to go through and just change some terminology on it. It's really just a hit chart with some X's and O's on it, but I've kind of got everything abbreviated where I've used it for so many years. So I definitely will have that available, but it probably will not be until next week or so. Let's see. One more question before we move on to play calling here. Chris writes, do you have an example of your game call sheet? Yes, I do. Go to coachxo.com. and in the search bar type defensive call sheet, or you can probably go to google.com and just type Coach XO defense call sheet. And I actually wrote a blog post at one point probably last fall sometime, where I offered my call sheet for everybody, and that is also available as a member of 30defense.com. And any changes that get made to that, 30defense.com members get notified, and they can get a copy of the call sheet right away. Okay. All right. One more pause here, and let me get this Playmaker software loaded up, and I'm going to go through some common football plays and show you exactly how I would make the play call. All right, guys, I'm back. The audio, I turned that off for just a second. I'm setting up all of the Playmaker software here. And if you're looking for a good Playmaker software, this is called Playmaker Pro. And it's an awesome piece of software. It doesn't cost very much. It's kind of old school, though. The guys who run this, like, you can't even download it. They still send you a DVD. But I actually have tried a lot of different Playmaker software, and I love this thing. It's absolutely been my go-to Playmaker of choice over the years, and I use it for all of our play cards, scout team cards, things like that. I want to give you a quick reminder, anybody that joins 30defense.com during this webinar, you are going to get a $20 discount on your membership fee for this year, and you're going to get access to all of my books and all of our videos. You will also get a membership in an exclusive forum just for coaches who are members at 30defense.com to go in and ask questions during the year, and I actually do have private webinars each week where I will meet with our members and I will talk to them about their game plan. If you've got some questions, we're going to do those on Saturday mornings during the season, starting probably the last week of August. And for those members that are at that level, and we go over everything you need. You can ask questions in real time and get feedback during the year from coaches running your defense all over the country. So, and also don't forget to share the link that I've got pasted below to a coach that you know, and you'll be entered into our contest to win a free copy of my advanced playbook. All right, let's look at the strong side power play. Now, this can be 3-back, 2-back, whatever. I'm going to do this out of an eye just because it's a good, simple way to view everything. So let's look at strong side power, and let's say I looked at all of my tendencies, and I see that I'm pretty sure they're going to run some kind of power type play over here on the tight end side of the play. They're going to try to, outnumber us at the point of attack, get a good double team here in the C gap. And let me show you how I think that most teams would block this first, because you really need to understand teams are going to block you different than you see on film. When you break down film in the 3-3 stack, you're going to have to find a 30 front that your opponent's been up against. Now, a 3-4 is not bad because you still got the same kind of alignment on the middle guys, the front defensive linemen. But you're really looking for those 50 fronts and 30 fronts. Don't be breaking down a lot of film, if they're in a 4-3 or anything like that. That's more of just a game check type thing. You can go watch that film last. You want to break down things that have a nose guard, and especially if a team's playing a nose guard head up, to get good, accurate tendencies on how people are going to attack you. All right, most teams that we've seen over the years, they always try to combo up on the C-gap player. So these tackles, everybody's going to block head up. You're going to find very few blocking rules for most teams where they're not going to block those guys head up. And in most teams that we play, when they try to block us down right here, they read this guy. If he slants in, he's going to climb. If he slants toward the tight end, then he's going to probably try to stay on that double team. All right, so we're definitely going to, if we get a good tendency that we're going to have a strong side off tackle play, we are going to slant right into that, because I believe that you've got to put a guy where they're running. You've got to put somebody in that point of attack and try to cause a double team. We want are, if I can get a double team all the way across this front, that's great because I got 5 linebackers running free. And I consider my tackles pawns. If I can trade 3 pawns for all of your linemen, then I'm in good shape, okay? And if the sound ever goes out, please let us know in the chat. We just got a message somebody couldn't hear, but I think it was on their end. Please let us know if you can hear everything down in the chat bar, and Jocelyn will let me know, all right? So we're going to try and force this double team by slanting into it. The same thing is happening here. He's going to step down. If he slants toward him, he's going to ride that double. And we tell our guys, tackle the next man. So if I slant, I want my nose guard. The center is going to try to block him. I want my nose guard to run into this guard, grab him, tackle him, knock him down. Do not let him get to my mock linebacker. Same thing here at the tight end. If we slant into the strong side power, I want to make sure we get a double team at the point of attack. They want to double the point of attack and try to crush us out, but we're going to be low, we're going to be hard, we're going to fall, make a pile if we have to, and we're going to force that double team to happen. Same thing's happening back here, okay? And all these guys are looking to climb. Now, we're probably going to get a puller. Let me take that guy out. All right. Now, if we get a puller here, a lot of teams in our area like to kick out with their fullback on our stud, and they like to pull this guy and wrap him around and try and get up on this backer. All right. So basically, they're trying to outnumber us on the point of attack and get this guy pulled around, get a double team, maybe climb up and get this backer. I think they would love to get to this guy right here at least, and then they're going to rely on their pull on the strong side to get the power out. This guy's going to try to hook over here, the backside tackle, and lock him in. So here's what we would do if we broke down film and we thought, you know, we're pretty sure there's going to be some kind of off-tackle, strong side power play here. All right? The first thing that we're definitely going to do is we're going to slant right into the hole. We're going to keep that guy right there and make him go in. Now, I am probably going to blitz on the outside of this. So the way I would probably do that is we have a call where we can X people. So we might X this stunt. What I'm going to do is blitz the stud off the side and then wrap this guy around right here, okay? And here's what that does. This guy's coming around looking. He's not going to be looking on the line of scrimmage for his play. He's going to be looking to wrap and get around. I'm going to fly into the backfield and try to wrong arm this fullback. And what that means is the stud's going to hit him with the outside shoulder, okay? And that's going to make everything bubble, including this guard right here. Now, this tackle has to win this battle. There's always going to be a one-on-one battle somewhere where you need to win. And he's going to try, when that guy pulls, he's going to try and jump his hip pocket and either run behind him or, you know what, just freaking tackle the guard and don't even let him get to this side so we can outnumber him on the point of attack. Now, what that does is we want to collision the fullback somewhere right here, and that way we can make everything bubble. When this guy runs gets the ball, we want him to bounce outside like this. We want this thing to go vertical because of the stunt we called. So we would call this slant strong, bats X strong. That's the whole call. That's it. And it just tells the backer and the stud, and that's BATS, what we call that, bats. Backer and the stud. All right. It just tells him that they're going to cross each other. So basically what's going to happen is we're going to hit the fullback, tackle the guard, and cause a huge pile right here, and he's going to have to bounce flat and get outside, and the backer is going to come over the top and be waiting for him. And then we're also going to release our free safety into the run fit here. If we get a good run tendency, he might take one step back, but then he's coming downhill, and he's aiming inside the force player. And since the backer and the stud switched, then now the backer is the force player. So we've got 2 unblocked. And we determined that we took away the point of attack, made it spill, and now we've got at least 2 unblocked. If our tackle here holds his double team, and if our nose holds his double team, we're probably also going to have 2 other linebackers scraping, one backside, one play side through the A gap. Now, here's something I do a little different in my 3-3 stack, and a lot of, the 3-3 stack does not have to be gap sound. That's crazy. I know a lot of you are shaking your head right now. But we like to say be unsound on purpose. If I look at a good tendency that says, 70% run, 90% strong, then why in the heck would I need to be gap sound in the backside freaking C gap? That doesn't make any sense to me. We're just going to say go away, stay. We have a nice little rule where our stud is just going to kind of throttle down right here. And he is going to be playing cutback, boot, counter, reverse. And he's going to be playing it on the entire weak side. It looks scarier on paper than it actually happens on film. We rarely get burnt backside because we have this rule in place. It's just go away, stay. And we're unsound on purpose. We know that we're a little vulnerable on the backside because we've got a stud playing in space. But we're not going to send this, we're not going to slant this guy away from the play just so we can be gap sound in the C gap and then try to make a two gap in here with our nose guard. I don't have the guys that can two gap. I've got to do something that can make us have some kind of play advantage. I got to release my free safety and take a chance they're not going to throw a post. I got to slant everybody to the strong side and try to outnumber them at the point of attack, and I'll just keep my athlete back here to try to make a play in space or at least slow them down until everybody reverses, okay? So on this strong side power, we've totally taken away the point of attack, and we've totally outnumbered them where we want to force the ball on the perimeter. Now, why do we spill? There's two ways to do this. We could force the ball back inside, or we can spill it. Over many years of running this defense, I found that I usually use faster players on this second level than what I would use in a 4-3 or something like that. I almost always want to try to make it stretch out horizontally left and right and make them run toward the sideline. That way my guys have time to spill over the top, catch up, outnumber him, and every step he takes toward the sideline is one step he's not taking toward the end zone. So we really do like to come inside and attack these kickouts and make everything spill. So that's one call that we would make against a strong side power. We're going to go ahead and try to bottle it all up and then make it bounce outside. And if you've got any comments on how you use your stack to attack power, go ahead and leave them in the comment box below. And I know that I do not have a monopoly on all ideas. This is just how we do it. We've been very successful doing stuff like this. And but I know that a lot of other guys are successful doing different things, and I would love to hear your ideas too. Okay? All right, let's look now at another play. Let's look at the inside trap. All right? All right, I'm actually going to do this one out of pistol. I want to do this trap out of pistol because I know a lot of guys have pistol on their schedule. We're going to put up here inside trap. All right. We back up my guy into the pistol here. We'll put the quarterback about 4 yards deep. Put the guy behind him. God love the pistol. And let's just throw this guy out here. They're going to try and spread us out. They're going to try and trap us on the inside here. All right? Okay. So let's first look at what the offense is trying to accomplish here. Now, what they're going to try to do, of course, is they're going to try to get a lot of people up to the second level, ignore people outside of the kick-out block. We're going to say it's trap strong, okay? And then they're going to try and slip this back. They're going to send him the wrong way and bring him back this side. So most of the time when people try to trap us, they just attack our nose guard like crazy. I mean, they're definitely going to double the nose guard here, hardcore, and they were going to make sure that they can move him and get some movement in the A-gap on their trap play. The tackle slips through. He hits the mic. The tight end slips through. He hits our backer. Now, we're going to probably get some kind of hook here to make sure that he can't get any movement in the backfield and blow up the trap play. And their splits might be a little tighter than normal. We're going to get a pull from this guy, and they usually kick out our tackle. I know that I've seen there's a long trap like counters and quarterback traps where they come out here and try to kick our stud out. But let's really talk about the inside trap right here first. The running back is going to step toward the puller, and the quarterback will open to him. And when he clears, there he goes. He's got a nice seal, and he's off to the races to the end zone. So that's how most pistol teams are blocking us right now when they're running the trap, doubling our nose. They're ignoring our tackle, ignoring our stud, hoping they get some movement. And if we're blitzing a lot, we get a lot of inside trap, and they're trying to take advantage of us getting upfield too far, and they're going to try to hit our stunt. Now, here's what we do against a trap. I'm going to change this a little bit thicker here this time, and I'm going to change my pen color to red so y'all can see this better. All right, now, what we do is we call in. That's the very first call we do. Whenever we break down film and we see a lot of traps happening on a certain down and distance, we always try to send our tackles in. We may not know exactly who's pulling, okay? So what we want to do is get inward movement on our slant, and what that's going to do is going to cut off this tackle from jumping through, And hopefully, it's going to give us good reads on these guards. When our tackle slants inside, if he beats this hook, he can see the puller, jump his hip pocket, tackle him, or make the play in the backfield. If our tackle on the reverse side sees that nobody touched him, he can now wrong arm this kick out and blow up the play in the gap. Okay, so we're always going to call the calls like slant in is what we're always going to call anytime we get any kind of trap movement or any kind of inside pull action. All right. Now, normally we give a direction on our nose guard, like we might say slant in weak, and that just means that the nose guard would go weak. Okay. But if we get a trap, like say we've seen, maybe seen 10 plays on this down and distance over 5 films, and 6 of them were traps where they were definitely pulling a guard. Well, we're going to go ahead and guess that it's some kind of trap play, and I'm actually just going to send my nose guard right through the center. And my goal here is to push that center back. So I'm not going to give him a direction. I'm just going to say slant in. And that tells our nose guard, you blow up the center. Now, we have 2 calls that we put with this in. We can say bull or bear. If we say bull, we want him to bull rush the center. Like if we've got a mismatch here, maybe our nose guard's bigger than their center, then we'll bull rush him into the backfield. If we've got a mismatch the other way where their center is better than our nose guard, we call bear, and we literally get in a 4-point stance and bear crawl right through this guy's jock strap, get him up on our back, and we ride him into the backfield. And what we're trying to do is blow up this thing. If you can blow up the trap action, if you can screw up the middle, then you're going to screw up trap, and it is not going to work. So we immediately go to the point of attack with our 3 linemen, and we put a guy there. We put guys in that action to make sure we can drive this back, bubble the trap back. If the trap never makes it, we've got unblocked players, and we're going to make a good play. Okay. Now, another thing that we like to do in traps is we know that we're going to blow up the trap action. Okay. So when we screw this up, and we break down a lot of film to make sure we know about when this is going to happen, but when we blow all this up, what the problem is, they're going to bounce outside, and you can see here in this formation they've spread us out a little bit. So if we broke down the personnel and we got 11 personnel and we know they're spreading us out, then we're going to have to blitz somebody off the edges to be ready for that bounce. All right. So what we would probably call here is we would call bullet left or bullet weak, sword strong. Okay. And what that does is when this running back tries to do his trap action, okay, he gets in here and he's messed up. He tries to take his little step, and he wraps on the quarterback, and he sees a mess happen. He's only got 2 options. He can run sideways left or sideways right. We want to make sure that we always complement this stunt with a blitz off the edge during trap plays to make sure that we've got guys in the backfield, and they're ready to attack to the deepest man. Okay? So when we're blitzing, we're looking at this deepest man. When they mesh right here, these guys are going to turn inside and be ready for that spill on the action. Now, our middle linebacker is very important. We never blitz our middle linebacker, ever, when we're going to see a trap, because he's got to see these pullers. We want him reading, definitely, anytime. Now, we read keys a lot. We got flow reads in our back. We want him to catch this pull so that he can hit the A-gap behind it, okay? We definitely want him to be able to get his nose up in here and attack as soon as he sees that puller and try to get up here in the mesh. That way, if there is a window of air that opens up and the trap squirts through, we always want our middle linebacker ready for that right behind the mess. So we never blitz our middle linebacker anytime we get any kind of trap breakdown on our tendencies, because we want him to be able to flow and move. Now, if we wanted to, could we slant weak and then blitz the A-gap? We could, but we've always found we've had more success by not blitzing the Mike linebacker, letting him take a good read step, see the puller, and make the play. We can also, this is another time, depending on the read, if it's a big heavy run tendency, we can also release our free safety in here. That way, if anything busts out on either side, then the free safety is going to come up and help us in our run fit. So the keys to stopping the inside trap are blow up the trap. Do something to mess the center up, and always make sure your edges are protected, because that ball is going to spill. When that guy gets here, he's going to panic. He's not going to run right through the mess, and he's going to bounce outside. Okay? All right, let's do one more play, and then I'll start answering some questions. We're going to look at sweep real quick. All right, let's look at a perimeter play from a straight up I. And we're going to do it out of a twin set. Now let's do it out of pro because keep it simple tonight. We'll break down some spread later on, some twins. All right, when we get sweep, okay, we know we're going to get hooks. We're going to get all kinds of hooks. So we've got to put our guys in good position to get out of these hooks. You know, he's going to try and hook our stud, and that was terrible. He's going to hook our tackle. You know, he's going to try and jump through and get somebody. He's going to try and jump through and get somebody. He's going to try. So we're going to get good big old bucket step hook blocks where they're trying to get our outside shoulder all tied up, okay? So the first thing we've got to do is make sure our guys are in good position not to let that happen. We want to try to always get a good beat on which way the perimeter play is going to go. This is usually pretty easy because if they're on the hash and you get a good perimeter tendency, whether it's off tackle or outside, you know, it's a pretty safe bet they're going to sweep the wide side of the field, get their quick guy in space, okay? So slant toward the wide side of the field. That will let your guy be one step ahead of the competition to beat those hook blocks. Now, this is where we have a little bit of trouble because our linebackers have to realize that it's going to be very hard on these hook-type blocks for us to get double teams because they're really just trying to get a hat on a hat and create some space for their back who's running on the perimeter here. He's running the sweep. Okay, so what we've got to do is we've got to really work hard on our technique to let these guys cross face. And when we say cross face, when you try to get hooked, we want you to go over top of the player. And a big tip here is always go two gaps. We always want our backers against any kind of perimeter play to go at least two gaps. That way, when they're making their, normally we tell them hit the first open window into the backfield, but on sweep, you really want them to go two gaps and get some more distance horizontally to make sure that they're not going to get hooked. But we never want them running flat. We actually tell our guys we want to stop the sweep in the backfield. We don't want to stop. We don't do pursuit drills up the sideline. I want to go out and I want to stop the play, okay? So make sure that your guys, when they're working on sweep drills, get them back in the backfield and stop them. Now, here's our biggest thing that we do against sweep. We don't blitz. There are many times you do not have to blitz anybody in this defense. You can leave one guy. You can leave a lot of guys say slant left and leave send one. Why are you running if you're not running one? Well, I've got 5 guys on the second level and they're running flat. Why would I blitz a guy behind that? That makes absolutely no sense. So if you get a lot of perimeter, if you got a perimeter down, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, and they're just running sweep with a fast running back, don't blitz. Keep your guys on the second level and let them read the play and run and make something good happen. Now, the biggest key to stopping the perimeter play is never blitz your studs. What we want our studs to do is go to the line of scrimmage, and they want to play flat. We do not let our studs go into the backfield on the sweep. We just have him string everything out. If he's going to get cracked, the corner will replace, and the free safety's coming down the alley. But make sure that your stud is going to string everything out and give these backers time to catch up. And our free safety on any kind of perimeter read, he is going to void and run the alley, and he is going to hit inside that force player. And you can see now there's no gaps for a cutback. That's the one thing that we see a lot of on sweep. When anytime it hits us big, we got too far upfield, they cut back against the grain, and there was no way to stop it. If you don't let your stud go past the line of scrimmage and he just plays this kind of like stretching everything out, then this guy's got to slow down, make decisions, and all of a sudden, boom, we've got an army coming behind him. So whenever you get any kind of sweep play, you do not have to blitz. Don't try to blitz your outside guy inside to the run. If you try to blitz your stud, I see so many coaches make this mistake when they first run in the defense. If you try to run into the backfield with that stud, here's what happens. Number one, he's going to widen out because kids always do it, and he's going to try and get around this guy. Now, look at the space between this backer and this stud right here in the 3-3 stack. If I blitz him into the backfield, okay, let's say that this kid catches the ball right here. Boom, he catches it, and then this, and what if my stud misses? Look at the hole between the backer and the stud. All this guy's got to do is flatten out just a little bit, make him miss, and it's off to the races. So we do not ever try to blitz a sweep. I mean, sometimes you can catch them and it looks cool on film, but 3 out of 4 times they're going to burn you, and you're going to have a guy getting up in the off-tackle hole, and he's going to make it to the sideline. So we tell our guy, hit the sideline right there, boom, stop at the line of scrimmage, and stretch that sweep out. And we never blitz. We try not to blitz anybody. If we get a good perimeter tendency, we are definitely not going to blitz into the backfield. All right? Let me look at a couple questions here and check them out, and I'll answer a few questions on the board, and then we will get to our prize drawing. All right, Mike has a great question here. What percentage would be the cutoff to determine a tendency? Would a 40% run be something to look at? No, if I'm always looking for 60% or more at least, and I'm really probably looking for 65 to 70. That's usually when I pretty much sell out and I'm going to blitz, is when I get that near that 70% tendency. And you find that a lot. Coaches are creatures of habit. We all do it. And we go in and I see what they're doing, and I see a 70% tendency on one down in distance, and that's where I'm going to make my move. I actually do not blitz a lot in my defense. I will slant my guys where I think the play is going to go if I get a good direction. But if I don't have a tendency of 65% or so, I am definitely not making an all-out type blitz to attack a point of attack, because I'm probably going to burn myself. So look for 65%-ish, somewhere in there. If you get a 70, roll the dice, man. 7 out of 10 times you're going to be right. And an old coach told me one time, defend what they do, don't defend what they don't do. If you see them doing something 7 out of 10 times, defend that, and then trust your kids to give great effort and run down everything else. So look for about a 65% tendency before you're going to sell out and really call a blitz. And anything else, man, just slant strong, slant weak, and let your linebackers make reads and make plays. Okay? All right, Jamel Bird. I talked to Jamel a lot on Twitter. Hey, man, what's up, Coach Bird? How do you defend double tight end formations? Okay, let me draw that up real quick. Let me pull up another play. I might actually have one here. Let's see. Nope. And let's see if I got any two tight end formations. Colorado. There we go. Okay. I've even got routes in this one. Look at that crap. All right, let's see. All right. All right, what we do is we play some man versus these Colorado sets. Now, if you're asking about two tight end in the backfield, this, of course, is not going to play. It's a little bit different. But what we do is we reduce everybody down. Usually we're 2 by 2. We really go solid, go 1 by 1 here on these tight ends. And we have a flow read system. Sometimes it's at a pistol. That complicates things, but let's keep it easy for this. So we line up our stack. We just reduce. We play man on the outside. The free safety is going to back up. He's going to back up probably to about 15 yards. And what happens is this. If the running back comes, this is not perfect by any means, but if he comes toward this stud, then technically this stud is responsible for him. Okay? The free safety is going to roll over top of this tight end, and if he releases, the free safety would take him. So basically it's kind of zero, really. And on the backside, what we're probably going to do here is we're going to lock on this tight end. He's going to be man-to-man on him. So that's how we handle coverage with these guys. And then if you look at this, then we just let the rest of our linebackers make plays. So if we slanted right here, let's say we slant toward the way the back's going, then our rules all go into effect. Go away, stay. This guy would be on the quarterback. And we're going to release our Mike and our other backer to stop the run play. Okay? So basically, in a two tight end situation like that, we're going to pretty much check out of cover 3 into like a zero look. And we call this Colorado. We picked this up from a guy over in Rockcastle County, Kentucky. He played it like this, and I really like that. Had a lot of success with it. You are a little weak if this quarterback pulls it. So if you're against a running quarterback, we've got some adjustments where we can call spy with our mic and make sure we keep 2 back on that quarterback if he's the real run threat. But pretty much we go solid with our studs, walk them down, reduce it, kind of like a 53 look, and kind of checks us into zero. So that's kind of how we play two tight ends. All right, and let's see, how do you say that? Let's see. Antoine, I guess, says pursuit drill. We do not do pursuit drills like the traditional pursuit drill where you run up the sideline. There is an article on CoachXO.com, and if you look up CoachXO and a perimeter drill, I think is what it's called. And we practice everything with that force on the line of scrimmage, and everybody hits inside the force. We always practice stopping sweep in the backfield when we're doing our quote-unquote pursuit drill or any kind of sprint out drill, because we do not want to let our kids have the mindset, yeah, it's okay to let them have 15 yards. We'll stop them upfield. Bull crap. Let the free safety and corner take care of that. We want all 8 guys in the box to stretch that sweep out and get into the backfield and get a loss. We have a lot of success against perimeter teams, even when they're faster than we are, because we work relentlessly on getting our kids into the backfield to stop perimeter plays. They're already running sideways. They're catching the ball 7 yards deep, man. Go get them. That's a huge chance for a big play on any kind of perimeter play. So we do not practice pursuit drills. We go into the backfield and stop the sweep in the backfield. All right, I got time for probably 2 more questions here before we do our drawing. How do you defend spread double tight formation running power or quarterback counter? Okay, that's kind of what I said on this last play. What's going to happen here, look at this double tight again. If you're going to get quarterback power, like the quarterback is going to pull it. Let's just look at our example we had. He's going to pull it and run power. What's going to happen is this. You're going to have this guy blocked down, and he's going to read that. Now, he went away, but he's going to put his hands on the tight end and field this double team, maybe the come up. So we're going to treat it just like a power play at this point. If there's a puller, here he comes. Whoops, let me throw it back. If they've got a puller right here, then what's going to happen is the nose guard's going to try to grab him. If he doesn't, he's going to jump his hip pocket and be behind the play. He's going to take on the puller on a wrong arm, and our linebackers, once they get their, they see that pull, will spill over the top to make the play. So it's all based on reads. Everything is based on reads. When this stud reads the block, he's going to let that go and take on the kick-out block. Our linebacker, go away, stay. He sees the quarterback pull it. He sees this double team happen. He avoids it, spills outside. We're going to spill that quarterback off to the sideline, and we're going to catch him on the flip side. The free safety is going to be out of this play because of the way we have to cover. It's the only way to cover the two tight ends in this defense is if you're running that zero look where the free safety is going to roll over the top of the play action. But the Mike linebacker is going to be back in on quarterback power. He's going to take his good read step. He sees the mesh, but he also sees the pull, and that's going to put him back into the play to get in the action. And our nose guard, we train a lot. We work hard on following those pullers, so we should be able to get people back onto the play side. And we can always look at the tendency. If it's a 70% run play, then we will lock our free safety into the run fit and just ignore this thing. Sometimes you don't have to cover everybody. If it's 80% run, why are you wasting a guy in coverage? Makes no sense. So just be unsound on purpose and say, you know what, spy free safety, you're in the run now. Boom, he steps down, sees that puller, and he takes off, and we got an extra guy on the play side. So a lot of it comes down to knowing, having a good idea what they're going to call. You don't have to be gap sound every play. You don't have to cover every receiver every time. Defend what they do. What did you see them do? If you saw them 6 out of 10 times run quarterback power, and 80% of the time it was a run play, don't defend the pass on that down and distance. Put calls in to release people and outnumber them at the point of attack. Okay? All right, our last question is by Richard Petrowski, and he asks, do you always have Mike and nose in the same gap? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking there. We always line them up head up. We never release them, and we don't have gaps. Our linebackers are not assigned gaps. They're assigned windows on flow. So, like, basically the middle linebacker could end up over here if all this closes up. He's going to find the first open window and hit the gap toward his read. So he's not necessarily just exchanging gaps with this nose guard. I think that might be what you're asking, and but that's not exactly how we do that. We just release them on flow. We don't just exchange gaps. I hope that answered your question. Not exactly sure what you were asking there. All right, got another question here. Jocelyn keeps feeding me questions, even though it says the last one. All right, let's go one more. How do you defend spread out and roll out? That is a great call, great question. Let me show you that real quick. I love sprint out teams. We played a team last year. They ended up in the state title game. We did not. We were 8-2 though. And but we actually beat this team, and they ran sprint out all the time. So let me show you how they did this. Let's look at it at a double spread here. All right, let me flip this around. All right, 3-3 stack is well suited. Sprint out, very well suited. Okay. So I'm going to show you sprint out, and I guess, let's see, let me throw some routes in here. I'm going to run a little hook here, and this guy's going to run a wheel. Whoop, there he goes. This guy's going to run a drag, and this guy's going to run, that post is fine, don't matter. All right, here's how we stop sprint out. Now, sprint out, they're always going to have this lead blocker here. Everybody's going to be hooking. Okay. Let's do that. We're going to run the quarterback behind him, whatever. And now they're going to be pass setting on the backside. Whoops. And probably hooking on the play side. All right. So nice little sprint out protection there. Probably not textbook perfect how they draw it up, but you can kind of look at that. All right. What we want to do on sprint out passes is we want to move our coverage with the roll. We're going to bump our coverages, and how we do that is this. Number one, as soon as we see sprint out develop, we do not attack with our stud. Now, I've seen guys do that. If you do that and that's successful, that's great. We were having no success with it because people were spotting up in the flats. They're running toward the flat, so we immediately drop to the flats and take it away on a sprint out with our stud. He goes. He's gone. We take him out. Now, if we slanted, hopefully we slanted toward the play, but let's just, say that we screwed up and we've slanted away from it. All right, whatever. All right. Anytime we get sprint out, we automatically, even if we didn't call the blitz, we tell our inside linebacker on the play side, he's going to automatically blitz. He has got to stop the sprint out. Now, that does not mean sack the quarterback. That means stop it from rolling out and make him throw. His aiming point is outside shoulder of the lead blocker. Okay, so when we get any kind of sprint out action, this guy is going to automatically blitz, and his aiming point is outside shoulder of the lead blocker. All right. Now, our linemen have got to get back into the play. They've got to see the sprint out, and they've got to redirect, and they have got to come in behind that force. Okay. So we're dropping the stud into the flats. The linebacker on that side, whether he blitzed or not, has to go, and his aiming point is outside that running back to cut him off. Make the quarterback throw. Don't give him the run-pass option. We took away the run option first, and now we're going to force him to throw. Now, the remaining linebackers we've already got the flats taken care of. Corner's dropping deep third. Free safety is rolling, and it's going to look more like quarter, half than cover 3. Because he's aiming for the hash and he's aiming for the number. That way, if we get anything like post behind it, it's going to be a bad throw. The corner is going to chase post unless something crosses his face. Okay. To stop this drag and to stop this hook, we're going to have to sling our coverage over to the right. Okay. So basically, the rule is if the quarterback is in the middle, you've got your zone. But if he leaves the middle, you've got to bump with him. So we're going to aim the next backer for hook curl, the next backer for the hole, and this backer is going to be hook curl. And once again, be unsound on purpose. If they're running sprint out way over here, you do not need a guy in the flats. You need a guy over here to help you in this hook curl because you got a drag, not that shallow, but you got a drag and a hook happening somewhere over here. So we just bump everybody one zone, and we choose where we void. We void the flat, we protect the deep half, quarter, and we cut the sprint off. We want them to throw on the sprint out. I think a lot of coaches, when they run sprint out, they have a good quarterback who's a good athlete. Maybe they've got a poor line and they can't protect him properly, so they're going to roll him out to try and let him throw a little bit, but he's not really a good thrower. They're hoping he runs it like a quarterback sweep, basically. Don't get hooked, force him to throw, and flood the zones. You can see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys on 3 receivers. So we are definitely going to be outnumbering them at the point of attack. And what happens is he'll roll out here, and he's either going to make a bad throw or stop, and these defensive linemen are going to catch back up. And boom, he's there. And if he gets loose back on the backside, your stud's still sitting on the hash. So that is how we attack sprint out. It's a zone concept where we're going to bump all of our zones one coverage, and we're going to cut off the sprint out and make him throw. All right, guys, it's 10:08. We're a little bit over schedule, man. I'm having so much fun here talking football. I could do this all freaking night, but unfortunately, I got some kids, and they got to get up in the morning, and my wife probably wants to go to bed. So let's sit here, and we're going to check out our drawings and see who won the advanced playbooks and see who won the free copy of Coach XO's football workouts. All right, guys, we are randomly drawing from all the participants in tonight's webinar. The first winner is Troy Brooks. Troy, if you will send Jocelyn a private message with your email address, she will. We're going to send you a free copy of of the advanced playbook, the Advanced Defense Playbook. So Troy Brooks, make sure you send Jocelyn a private message. You've won a copy of the Advanced Playbook. And our next winner is going to be, let's see, Rex Putnam. You are also going to win a copy of the Advanced 30 Defense Playbook. And let her know if you do not have the first edition of the playbook, my actual 30 Defense Playbook, because the Advanced Playbook builds on that, and we will send you a copy of both of those. So we've got Troy Brooks and Rex Putnam. And Gary Hughes, you are going to get a free copy of the Advanced Playbook. And if you do already have a copy of the Advanced Playbook, let Jocelyn know that, and I'll send you a free copy of something else to make sure you get a new product that you might not always have. And hold on one second. We are checking for a winner for the free copy of Coach XO's football workouts. All right, the winner of Coach XO's football workouts and a new member of 30defense.com is Estevan Chavez. All right, Estevan Chavez, send Jocelyn a message and make sure you touch base with her, and you will be sent a free copy of this year's Coach XO's football workout, and you will already be pre-registered to get the brand new 2015 edition when we change all the dates and get you scheduled back out for the 2015 school year. All right, guys, we're going to be having a lot more of these clinics. I'm going to try to do at least one a week the entire football season, and I need some ideas what you want to hear. So leave some, before you leave the chat tonight, go in and leave what you would love to hear about. Do you want to hear me break down the double wing? Do you want to hear me talk about spread offenses? What do you want me to talk about in these webinars? I want these to be really focused on game planning, and my goal is to help you guys understand the stack defense better, understand how to use its incredible toolkit to attack various offenses, and I really want us all to win more games. I want the 30 stack coaches to be the best coaches in America, and our defense to be the most dominant defense at the high school, middle school, youth, and even college and semi-pro levels. A lot of guys don't believe in the 30 stack, but I've seen its power. I've seen how it can change programs almost instantly just because of the fun and the energy and the excitement that it injects into your football team. And I know if you use it and you use it right, man, you're going to win a lot more games. So thanks for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate you coming by. Hope I didn't go through everything too fast. This was our first webinar. We'll try to make them better every week, just like we're on the field getting our teams better every single week. If you need anything at all, you can find me on Twitter at CoachXO, or I'm always in the forums almost every day over at CoachXO.com. And the special sale price to join 30defense.com and get premium support, email support from me, webinars every week, and a private forum. You can do that. You can go ahead and click the link, and you can check that out and get a special discount until I think it's at 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. on Pacific time tonight. So I'm going to leave that sale price up for tonight, but it will be gone in the morning. So if you're going to join 30defense.com, make sure you do that tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Had a good time, and good luck this week at practice.